Ladies and gentlemen, we interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to bring you this special bulletin. I'm beginning to firmly believe that the studios, the publishers in the video game industry are beginning to lose their ever loving minds with price increases. We have base price for so called AAA video games being pushed and pushed to beyond $70, upwards to $80. Thankfully, the Outer Worlds attempted that was blasted back to oblivion online. Players were not accepting it, trolling, making fun of it, and talking about how ridiculous it was, where to the point where they dropped the price down and still think it's too high, down to $70. But that's not going to stop these industries. Recently, not too long ago, Microsoft came out and announced an increase in 5, 10-year-old hardware, maybe 8-year-old hardware. Or is it 5? Y'all correct me in the comments. Increasing the price of the Xbox Series S and X. And now, well, guess what? Since Nintendo decided to, introduce the $80 price tag for a game that's not worth $80, I don't care what you say, even if you're a maybe if you're a content creator. But no, for the regular average normie out there that just wants to play their happy fun video games with the families, $80 price tag is not justifiable, not even for Mario Kart World. But far be it from Nintendo to let Microsoft hold all the controversial nonsense. They came out and decided to raise their prices on the original Switch, the OLED, all of them, and even other things. How old is the Switch? I'm sorry. You can't afford the Switch 2, so just go buy the original Switch, the original OLED. No, we're raising the price. This article's over here from Vice.com. Nintendo Switch raised the price of the original Switch. Oh no. Is the OG Nintendo Switch even worth it anymore? With Nintendo's practices, internal, external, their treatment of the customers, bricking systems, if you happened to purchase a secondhand video game that someone copied, well, you're screwed for a little while. You just better get on the phone with customer service. Nintendo has been, and the idea that they can brick your system anytime they feel like it without explanation, and you might be SOL. Did you say something naughty on chat? Did you say something defamatory or something Nintendo didn't like? Just think about that, folks. Has it happened yet? I don't think so. Can it happen? Of course it can. Keep thinking about that. Just realize that. Once you implement it, where does it stop? Back to the article. I haven't even started it. Anyway, Nintendo has seen some pretty solid success. Well, that's because they have brand reputation that am I the only one that seems to think that they're just trying to tank it? Everything they do is just making it worse and worse? Or is the popularity of Nintendo brand, the video games, their core titles, is the popularity so high that there's absolutely nothing they could possibly do to ruin their reputation as a whole with the normie, average family audience that they have a rather rock solid hold of? Pretty solid success with the launch of the Switch 2, despite some issues keeping up with demand. Issues keeping up with demand. And a fairly high price for the console itself. I hear Microsoft is pulling off a hold my beer moment with their new or future handheld console. People unable to get the sequel console, or unable, unwilling, uninterested, could at least bank on getting the OG Switch at a lower price, since Nintendo has been clear about its intention to continue to support it. I mean, honestly, if you don't have the original Switch by now, you probably weren't going to get one anyway, and you probably weren't interested in the Switch 2 for whatever reason. As of yesterday, however, when's this article written? Where is it at? August 4th. I'm a couple days behind on this article. Let's see. As of yesterday, however, that option has largely gone out the window. Last week, Nintendo announced that the price increase would go into effect on August 3rd. 3 days ago as the time of this recording. Here's the quote from Nintendo, because it just makes so much sense. You like that word I highlighted? Pricing of the original Nintendo Switch family system, not for families, and products will change in the United States based on market conditions. What market conditions? Would you care to elaborate, Nintendo? Would you like to tell us? Maybe it's those nasty, filthy little tariffs that everyone was talking about a few months ago that I don't believe even took effect. They're just speculating If they say market conditions, do they even have to explain it? They can just raise the price anytime they want to and just blame market conditions. I did air quotes. You can't see me. These include Nintendo Switch OLED model, Nintendo Switch Lite, and select Nintendo Switch accessories. Other Nintendo products. Here's the other problem. This is old hardware. That's not supposed to happen when it comes to electronics. Electronics, as they age out, and when they are replaced with a more current generation system, those prices go down, historically speaking. And yet, here we are. Xbox did it. Looks like they're getting away with it, too. So why not Nintendo go off and do it? They have the opportunity to make a little bit of extra money, so why not? But in the meantime, they're also going to add in, well, increases to Switch 2 accessories, select amiibos, and the Nintendo Switch, the Nintendo Sound Clock Alarmo. Why on earth people are going to buy a Nintendo alarm, an overpriced alarm, but it has the music, Hilton. We like the music, and they're going to release all the music, and so I guarantee you most of that stuff you can download onto your own phone, probably for little to no price whatsoever. Huh. They are increasing the price of 5-year, 8-year-old hardware. Am I the only one that thinks this is ridiculous? No, I'm not the only one that thinks this is ridiculous. Pricing for the Nintendo Switch 2 system, physical and digital Nintendo Switch, and Nintendo Switch 2 games as well as, I can read, Nintendo Switch Online memberships will remain unchanged at this time until they decide to raise those prices. However, please note that price adjustments may be necessary in the future, which means, hi, enjoy it while you can. We're raising the prices later. Now, what is those increases? Switch, the original Switch is going from $300 to $340. I'm just going to round up for ease. So the original Switch is going up $40. The OLED is going up $50. And the Switch Lite is going up $30. But why? It's market conditions. They have to keep up with the market. Okay. Again, what does that mean? What does market conditions even mean? At this point, you might as well go new. And I wonder if that's their plan. They raise the price on all the old shit so that you'll just, let's see. So $340 or $450. So the original Switch is going up to, or the OLED, excuse me, the OLED. Let's base the price off the OLED. The OLED is going to be $400. Well, just for an extra $50, you can get the Switch 2. So why don't you just go ahead and buy a Switch 2? Or if you're really being generous and want a cheaper point of entry for Mario Kart World, you can get the Switch 2 bundle for an extra $100. What's the problem with that? You can afford that, you peasant. This is ridiculous. They're pricing you out of the original because they just don't want to deal with it anymore. Is that a possibility? I wouldn't be surprised. I don't blame anyone for looking at that and deciding to just leave the Switch alone in general. Well, unless again, I was considering buying a Switch 2 when it was before the price was revealed and before all the other nonsense came out with the possibility of bricking your system. I'm not interested in that. I don't like the idea of one wrong thing happening, one mistake being made, and all of a sudden your system is screwed. Your system is bricked. Didn't like that. And then the price point came out and I was like, no, I don't think I'll get it. I'm not buying a console. I'm not buying a portable console for one single game. Not even two. I think I did that with the PlayStation 4. I believe I did. It was one of the Final Fantasy games that I bought a PlayStation 4. Strictly bought the whole console. Didn't regret it because they had a massive library. Nintendo Switch 2 does not have a massive library. So anyone out there that hasn't bought a Switch probably wasn't going to buy one. If they haven't bought a Switch 2 by now, maybe they're waiting. But if you didn't buy a Switch 1 to begin with, you're probably not to be interested in a Switch 2. The library, from what I've seen for the Switch 2, to take advantage of the Switch 2 performance and the specs and all that other stuff, don't think they're interested. So I don't know what this move is trying to push. Make the original Switch less desirable trying to convince people to go to the Switch 2. But it's 8-year-old, it's 5, 6, 7-year-old hardware. And historically speaking, it just doesn't make sense. I don't blame anyone for looking at that and deciding to just leave Switch alone. In general, of course, market conditions are pretty clear. Are pretty clear? No, it's pretty fucking vague. What are you talking about? Pretty clear, given what's going on in the world. Oh, shut the hell up. But in a weird way, this may work out for them. Oh, it probably will, because Nintendo fans will be Nintendo fans no matter what. Just like Pokemon fans, you're going to eat up all the slop. You're going to pull it in. You're going to shill. Well, maybe the hardcores will shill, but no matter what Nintendo does, if you're a fan, you will be a fan. You will always be a fan. Is that blind loyalty? Borderline. Yes, it's blind loyalty, but it is what it is. If you're still planning on getting a new console, you might as well go for the Switch 2. Wow, you're on Nintendo's side. The OLED is the ideal version of the OG console, and it's only about $50 less than the Switch 2. So Vice is on Nintendo's side. Their scumbag business practices raising 8-year-old hardware. You're on their side. That's not very anti-customer. That's not very pro-customer. At least with the new console, you get better performance with the backwards compatible games and the new games made for it. And if you want to spend an extra $10, $15, $20, you can upgrade your older game to play better on the Switch 2. But again, I get why someone would elect to hang back a generation or step away altogether. Well, I never stepped up for Nintendo, so there's nothing for me to step away from. It sucks for customers. Stop using that word, consumers. Blind loyalty. Don't ask questions. Just consume product and get excited for next product. Stop doing that. Stop your pre-orders. Hold on to your wallet. Wait for reviews that you trust. And stop giving these companies money when they don't put out finished product. Pay attention to their business practices. Nintendo raising the prices. Following suit with Microsoft, they started with the video game prices up to $80. Now the rest of the industry is trying to follow them. I believe we're going to see more of this in the future as far as the AAA studios, the so-called AAA video games releasing. They're going to continue to push the envelope and attempt to put the $80 price tag on it. Oh, Lord knows what Grand Theft Auto 6 is going to be priced at. And I don't think that's going to matter ultimately, but let me know what you think. Do you own a Switch? Do you own a Switch 2? Are you happy to see these price tags? Were you ever intending to buy a Switch? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Leave a like, leave a dislike, do all those nifty little things that YouTube is begging you to do, and I do hope to see you on the next one. Bye.